Take a look at these two Great Western locos. They are the same class, do similar jobs, and carry similar loads. From the front of it, there's not much to differ them. However, if you look at this loco's tender, it gives away a little secret, and its main source of fuel is not what you think. Heavy fuel oil is very different to other types of fuel that is made from the refining of crude oil. It is the heaviest oil next for asphalt. When the oil is refined, it is, in its simplest format, separated due to viscosity. The oil is pumped into a fractioning tower, and heavier oils settle to the bottom. The fractioning tower has to be temperature controlled. The top is cold so that vapour and lighter oils can condense, while the base is very hot to allow thicker oil to flow. The tower is separated into levels. Each level has its own pump, so the different oils could be removed. But how can heavy oil be applied to a steam engine? When the oil is received, it looks and acts like a dark treacle. Like all matter, when heat is applied to it, the energy excites the molecules and causes the bonds that hold them together to break. This reduces the viscosity. In the case of fuel oil, as it is considered a volatile compound, it has a flash point around about 150 degrees. Flash point is the lowest temperature point that a vapour will be emitted and mixed with air, and a spark will ignite. And while some may see it as an explosive experience, for steam engines, it's perfect as an alternative fuel. Because the main body of the engine, that being the boiler and the motion, needed little to no adaptation, the move from coal-fired to oil was an attractive one, especially in Russia. They were the first to start the conversions to oil and had the majority of its engines on the Greiz-Tazarin Railway converted by 1885. In the UK, the national coal strike of 1893 and the subsequent shortages made the railway companies realise that dependence on just one power source was not wise. Although conversion was rare in the UK, the Great Western decided to convert a number of locomotives to oil. The conversion starts in the tender. The coal bunker is replaced with an oil tank that can hold up to 1,700 gallons of heavy oil. Like with water, the tank has overflow vents, and the level of oil is monitored by an indicator and a float. To keep the flow of oil consistent, steam-powered heating coils are installed in the chamber. The oil is taken to the firebox via a strainer that removes any sludge, which is piped out of a sludge drain pipe. The next change is in the firebox. The firebox is mostly left in situ, however the walls are lined with bricks, with a flash wall just below the firebox door. The grated floor is replaced with a more solid floor to hold up the extra weight. The inlets are cut in for airflow. The firebox door is partially sealed and a thick glass window is installed so the crew can monitor the fire. The window is only removed for maintenance and lighting up. Finally, the ash pan is replaced with an oil pan. Other than that, not much was changed. At the end of the firebox, a burner was inserted which atomised the fuel. The fuel by now was the perfect temperature for flash point, and after the fire was lit and the hot gases produced from it, travelled down the tubes and heats the water. Other than that, everything works exactly as a steam engine would do. But if the oil requires heat to get to its flash point, and the heat is made from the steam from the fire, it's obviously uneconomical to leave the engine running, so how do you light this engine from cold? Situated behind the rear driving wheel near the cab is a connection that allows steam from an external source to enter the coils and the steam manifold. Once up to the correct temperature, the blower was turned up, the fuel fed through, and a lit paraffin rag through the peephole did the rest. But how did the role of the crews differ? The driver's job role would remain relatively the same. However, the fireman's role would be a little different. The fireman would have to be equally as vigilant as before, and he would be in control of 5 main roles. 1. To keep the temperature of the heating coils in the tank constant. 2. Control the flow of oil to the burner. 3. Control the flow of steam to the atomizer. 4. Control the airflow to the firebox. And 5. Cleaning the blower using a steam blast. Like with coal, the fireman also has to look after the flow of water to the boiler and other standard duties any fireman would expect to do. Like with coal, the fireman checks the chimney to see the health of the fire. Too much fuel and not enough air, and the smoke will turn dark brown. Too much air and there would be no smoke at all. The smoke should be a hazy brown and light in consistency. Fueling the locomotive is not as simple as loading coal is, and specific depots had to be developed. The oil is sent by rail tanker and can be emptied into depot storage tanks at a rate of 1,000 gallons an hour. The depot requires its own steam heating system to lower the viscosity of the fuel, so it would flow easier. Unlike coal, which could be put into tenders and bunkers from anywhere, depots were not as commonplace, with only a few being built. By 1948, when BR was ready to take the reins, the plan had all but failed. The few locos that had been oil converted were reverted back to coal, and with new dedicated diesel engine in production, little was thought of about oil again. That is until today. Today, with the restriction on coal mining, most heritage railway coal has to be imported, sometimes as far away as Australia. The cost of coal is being heavily inflated by the import costs, meaning that the average shovel load is costing around £3. With the longest heritage line being 20 miles long, the prospect of using cheaper heavy oil is alluring. The North York Moors Railway has already taken steps to convert its own engine, Dame Vera Lynn, to oil on its next overhaul, with other owners considering the prospect. Some enthusiasts won't like it, as they may see the conversion as not authentic, but with the rising costs and people's tightening pockets, it might have to happen to keep steam alive on the line.